Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
This is the Three Wheels of Wrestling podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Three Wheels Wrestling Podcast. Yes, another wrestling podcast. I am Willie Tiny, and my guest hosts today are Will the Thrill and L.A. Willie.
Yeah.
We've been waiting forever and a day for this podcast, and we've got the multi-Hall of Famer in the house tonight. He is none other than Lowlife Louie. How you doing, Louie?
Thank you guys for the awesome intro, and it is an honor and a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you for joining us.
I gotta say cheers in honor tonight.
You see, what is that? Oh man, you're gonna make me bust mine out now. Look, there we go.
There you go.
Always prepared, brothers. Always prepared.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Nice and cold.
I'm gonna Gatorade it.
Hey, listen, Gatorade. Listen, after a match, there is nothing better than a nice cold Gatorade.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, our first question for you is: how long have you been wrestling?
Well, on June 28th, 1997, started my 28th year in professional wrestling. I started way back in 1996, doing a little bit of underground wrestling. And then I started training under the tutelage of the notorious 187 Homicide, who trained the original group that he trained was myself, Low Key, Monster Mac from the Hit Squad, and Mason Buffy, who used to be on the Indies as the Christopher Street Connection back in the early 2000s. He trained all five of us around the same time frame at Arena, Puerto Rico, in Brooklyn, New York. I made my professional debut on June 28th, 97, after about a year of training and stuff. So that's 20, like I said, that's 28 years of professional wrestling under my belt at this time.
And at one point in your career, you did retire.
I actually had to retire twice. Back in 2011, I retired because actually three times. In 2011, I actually didn't retire, didn't make any announcement. My daughter was born in 2010. I took some time off. I had two bookings in all of 2010 into 2011. Both were working with the legendary New Jack, God rest his soul, one of my favorite opponents to work with.
Yes.
And after that, I basically stopped getting booked, stopped getting calls. Basically, I wasn't really on social media at the time. And at the time, I basically called it a career. I said, if this is it, I'm done. And the aforementioned Steve Monster Mac called me. His old partner and him had parted ways. And he invited me to, do a couple of bookings with him as a tag team, the Heavy Hitters, for UWA Elite up here in the Central Jersey area. This is going back into maybe August, September 2012. And the rest is history. I came back. Actually, in 2015, I had to stop. I suffered a brain injury during a match. I got hit with a very heavy piece of electronic equipment. I was diagnosed with my 9th concussion. I was told never to get hit in the head again. And obviously, 8 months after that, I refereed in the Nick Gage Invitational Tournament. I was supposed to referee in the Nick Gage Invitational Tournament, but because how the chips fell, I ended up wrestling in the first round against Nate Hatred, and that pulled me right back in. In 2016, I really thought I was done because I wrestled Masada for On Point Wrestling. I suffered a horrible injury mid-match where I broke some ribs. One of them went inside my lung, and 36 hours later, I was in ICU. I had major surgery. They had to repair the puncture in my lung. They had to inflate my collapsed lung. I suffered an infection during my hospital stay. I was in the hospital for 7.5 days. And the doctor said that at the time, at 40 years old, I was pretty much done. I shouldn't do anything like that ever again. Well, here I am.
Right.
Here you are.
Wow.
Before we
Here
get
I
to
am.
the next question, L.A. Willie, do me a favor.
Warning. Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Thank you for that. What a thrill.
Oh, well, you work for about 20 different promotions.
Yes.
So is there any different promotion you want to shout out to, or any of them you want to talk about?
I'll make this one really brief because every promotion that I've ever worked for, I thank them for the opportunity to be able to ply my trade in front of their office, the boys in the back in their fans. Every opportunity like that is vital to the growth of an individual, especially in something as diverse as professional wrestling. But obviously, through the trajectory of a long career, there's a handful of places that become near and dear to you. Obviously, Arena, Puerto Rico, where I met Homicide and Lathon
Puerto
Tower of
Rico.
Torture, Manslaughter, Shaolin, Jay Lover, J Train, Lalo. They were the ones who originally helped us. Manslaughter. They were the ones who originally took an interest in the aforementioned crew. I'll call them the IWW crew. That again being Monster Mac, Low Key, Mace Buffy, and myself. They helped train us. They helped pave the way for us. So being there meant a lot. From there, we met Bobby Lombardi. Got rest. Bobby Lombardi was the promoter of the LIWF Doghouse. He basically took me in when my brother passed away in 2001. Bobby Lombardi helped me, get by financially. I was having a really bad time financially. Took care of me, looked out for me, and basically made sure that I was okay and gave me a home and a training facility in the original Doghouse. It's a place that has many great memories for a lot of guys on the East Coast, and I miss it dearly. I miss him dearly, and he was like the first place where I actually got an opportunity to show who I can be. Another shout out, and I'm probably going to repeat this a lot, sadly, but again, God rest his soul, to Fat Frank, the booker and promoter of Jersey All Pro Wrestling. That was the place where I first was noticed nationally. Back in 1999, they did a story on MSNBC about Jersey All Pro, again, working with New Jack inside a steel cage. And I was the featured JP guy on the show. It was pretty amazing to be featured back then on something like that. So a big shout out to my time in Jersey All Pro. Many years ago, they also inducted me into their Hall of Fame. That was the first one for me. Also, shout out to Master Frank Goodman, promoter of USA Pro Wrestling. USA Pro Wrestling, I started working for them in 2003 after I had almost 7, 8 years in the business. So I was feeling like I was learning at the point, and Frank Goodman always gave me the opportunity to work with some top-notch names, such as, again, God rest his soul, Balls Mahoney, God rest his soul, Axel Rotten, Raven. Again, I worked with New Jack. I worked with so many guys at USA Pro that helped me learn from being in the ring with such great established talents. And then, last but not least, it's almost like a tandem, because when I joined On Point Wrestling in 2015, I started up. Matt Tremont hooked me up with Louie. Thanks to them, I won my first ever tournament, Survival of the Sickest One. One of the proudest moments of my life. I shared the moment with my son in the ring. And after that, On Point and H2O kind of split off. And I remained with H2O, and where I remain to this day. H2O is not only a promotion to me, but it's like a second home. Matt Tremont, the booker, the promoter, and I'm not peeling back any fourth wall here. He's the promoter, the booker, the owner of H2O. He is that man is like family to me. He's like a brother to me. He's been there for me. He helped resurrect my career. Him and Louie both, but Matt continued with it. They both helped resurrect my career when it was again in the doldrums. And after one of my retirements, and they just blessed me with opportunity upon opportunity, and now so much so that my son actually wrestles for H2O as well. So I can never repay the debt of gratitude that I have for Matt Tremont and also for Louie, and again for On Point and H2O in the latter stages of my career.
Nice.
All right. So, Louie, correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
You are a Hall of Famer for GCW
Yes, Deathmatch Hall of Famer.
and H2O,
Yes,
and you just mentioned New
Jersey All
Jersey
Pro,
Pro. Um,
and
is
and
there
another small,
any other
yeah,
promotions?
another small company called SHP, Sean Henderson Promotions. I wrestled for them on their first show against Connor Claxton. And I'm going to actually wrestling for them in 2 days' time, this Friday night at the Mecca in Richfield Park. It's me, Mark Angel, and Rob Shit, three-way hardcore. And Sean Henderson, he's a young guy making his way in the business as both a wrestler and a promoter, but he's had some great shows, a great guy to work for, a great guy to work with. He's had such luminaries on his shows as, Paul London, Brian Kendrick, Too Cold Scorpio, and so many others. And it'll be an honor to work for him again this Friday night.
All right, LA Willie, you got the next question.
Yeah, let's get 1 second here. So, what makes
5.
you a Hall of Famer, Louis?
Again, like we mentioned right before we went on the air, to me, Hall of Famer is basically, I don't feel like I'm a Hall of Famer. To me, a Hall of Famer is a Hulk Hogan, a Ric Flair, an Undertaker, a Rock, a Stone Cold. I've been blessed, in my opinion, in this genre, in this area, in this, limit to where I'm at. Being a Hall of Famer is being giving a nod for all you've done for the company that's giving you that Hall of Fame nod. Again, like a company like Jersey All Pro that was in business for almost 2 decades, a company like H2O that's been in business for so many years as well now, a staple in the deathmatch community here in the area. For them to bless me with that kind of honor meant a lot, and I think that the GCW Deathmatch Hall of Fame nod is a big deal because they're such a huge company. And recognizing not only a body of work, I've wrestled for them a few times, had a few great matches in GCW. Nate Hatred, Matt Tremont, Mance Warner. Some of my best matches took place at GCW. And, as the largest probably purveyor of deathmatch wrestling in the country with the most eyes, and them traveling to Japan and worldwide, getting that Hall of Fame nod was a big deal because it was basically like being given my flowers after recognition after 27 plus years.
Okay, Louis.
Very
So,
nice.
what wrestlers inspire you to become a wrestler? Whether it's in the U.S., overseas, or overall, like
You
growing up.
know, growing up in this area, being the age that I am, I'm 48 years old. I grew up watching Hulk Hogan, and who didn't? And
Yep.
say what you want to say about the man. The man is a flawed human being. When I was a child, I think I would have fought anybody and everybody who would have had a bad word to say about Hulk Hogan. I worshiped the man as if he was a god, and anybody who knows me well knows this is a fact. To me, Hulk Hogan could do no wrong as a child. He was a living, breathing hero, almost godlike. And when I saw him slam Andre, it basically cemented to me not only was that man God, but by him doing that, it showed me that anybody at any point could do anything if they set their mind to it. So it basically gave me like this whole, inspiration that I carry to this day. And as years go by and you learn the stories about the politician and the racist and sometimes scumbag that he could be, it hurts the heart that you worship
Mhm.
somebody like that. But in the end, the character that he portrayed during that time was basically flawless for the time, for the generation, for just like the whole frame, the landscape. He basically helped change the landscape, and for that, I'll be eternally grateful to Terry Bollea, aka Hulk Hogan. Again, one of the biggest inspirations of my career, and again, that doesn't take away the fact that now as a grown adult, I see that again. He's a flawed human being like every single one of us. Every single one of us makes mistakes and has done some shit that we're not proud of, and I'm sure that whether he's sorry or not, he showed his bad side, and like everybody else, he's done wrong. But again, like as a kid, I worshiped that dude, and he was the one who I wanted to be like. But obviously, I wasn't 6'8", I wasn't 300 pounds. When I started watching the World Wrestling Council on Channel 41, which was the Spanish TV affiliate in the New York area, I started watching a lot more of Abdullah the Butcher. And when I looked in the mirror, I was a short, chubby kid with almost a bald head and, little man boobies at like 12 years old. And I'm like, I look more like that guy. And that guy is cool. That guy cuts people. That guy hit a hammer under his boob and he hit Carlos Colon. He beats up everybody. He tried to choke Dutch Mantel with a hanger. He beat up Bruiser Brody with a chain. And I was like, I want to be like Abdullah the Butcher. And I remember the funniest thing, one of my greatest stories of my entire life was at 12 years old, there was a Spanish, like a Spanish TV show, which was in the same vein of a current affair. They were doing an expose on the World Wrestling Council in Puerto Rico. And my mom used to watch that stuff religiously. And my mom, the guy on the TV said, all this stuff is BS. That blood is fake, da-da-da. And I told my mom, no, that's real. That's real. And one day, not only is it real, one day I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that against him. And on July 18th, 2003, I got to wrestle Abdullah the Butcher in the Elks Lodge in my hometown.
Yes, so
dreams do come true thanks to professional wrestling. But, taking a step back, Abdullah was the guy who basically that I watched and said, I can be like. I loved Hulk Hogan, but I couldn't be Hulk Hogan. I knew that I could be Abdullah the Butcher. I knew that I had the same physical attributes as Abdullah, and if I was willing to put my body on the line like he was, I can do it. I remember watching. There's a video clip of him from the Best of the WWC VHS tape. He's sitting there. He's getting his head stitched, 13 stitches in his head. He's sitting there like he's waiting for the bus. Years later, I would duplicate the same thing when they removed the Kenzon that was stuck to my skull. And outside the H2O Wrestling Center, I basically am sitting there with no change of my facial expression, just like the Abbey look as they're prying this Kenzon off of my head. And that's my ultimate ode to Abdullah the Butcher, who was my second biggest inspiration. And if you watch me wrestle, it's pretty much, I'm pretty much a Wish version of Abbey.
There you go.
Very nice. I'm so glad you got the opportunity to wrestle one of your idols, Abdullah the Butcher. I did get a chance to watch that on YouTube. It's on YouTube, so everybody go and check it out.
Sure will.
Our next question for you. What is cum?
Oh, man.
I'm sorry.
That is the greatest question ever.
I know what cum is.
We all know what cum is. Listen,
right.
We all started that way. Every single one of us started that way. That's it. Bottom line.
Explain for the viewers.
Right.
Let me explain what cum is. Many years when I started wrestling, I always had, I always wanted to be extreme and try to use just verbiage and pseudonyms and whatever I saw on the news. Many years ago, when I did IWW and St. Louis Wrestling, the Knicks play-by-play man. I'm a huge basketball fan, huge New York Knicks fan. Marv Albert was arrested for biting a prostitute while dressed in lingerie. So 2 weeks later, on my public access IWW wrestling show, I got my mother's bra, her stockings, dressed in drag, put on a mask, and wrestled as Marvelous Marv.
Wow.
So with a sausage in my pocketbook that looked like a dildo. Years later, I would actually use real dildos in my wrestling matches. And anybody, again, it's also on YouTube. But this may be a little disturbing. Years ago, there was a case in the city of New York where some cops did some bad stuff with a plunger. Next week, what was I had a plunger in my hand in my match. So I've always tried to be a little witty, a little funny. And years ago, when we were at the doghouse, I was coming up with new ideas for the younger guys. And I took a liking to this young guy named Devious, Darren Quick. Big shout out to Devious and the whole team Target back in the day at the doghouse. Devious was about 6'4", 6'5", 240 pounds, 50 pounds, lean, tall, good-looking young guy. I said to myself, I'm not white, but I'm light-skinned. He was African-American. We could wear white with dark letters, and we could be the completely unstoppable machines, CUM. We were ready to pull the gimmick off, and then sadly, the building where we were located lost its lease. The second building we were going to run at ended up having some zoning issues, issues with handicap access, and it ended up getting closed down before our second show. So we were never able to run there again. So the gimmick took a backseat. And for many years, I pitched it to a lot of guys. Me and Sean Henderson, who I mentioned before, were supposed to actually do it. Me and a couple other guys were supposed to actually pull off this gimmick. Back in 2022, my son got involved in a storyline with Anthrax and Stretch, who were at the time heels at H2O, and now we are all one team called Peace, Love, and Death Match. But back then they were the heels. They beat up my son. Peace, love, and death. They beat up my son. They took my 17-year-old son at the time, and they stuck a gusset in his head. It was a bloody scene. It led to this grudge match. But again, I didn't want to use the gimmick then because I thought that was a one and all for my kid. I didn't think that it was going to go anywhere. So this year he started to learn a little more, and he started getting involved in other storylines. And I said, you know what? We're pulling the trigger. We're gonna do it. If it means just doing it once, we're gonna do it. And we came up with the shirts that say CUM, Completely Unstoppable Machines. And we've actually garnered a whole bunch of bookings from it. My son's actually gotten booked off the back of this. We've done a couple of matches at H2O together from it. So, I'm very happy that I got to pull it off. And even more so that I got to pull it off with my own kid.
Right.
Yeah, as pictured.
Mm-hmm. But that's what it stands for. It stands for Completely Unstoppable Machines. But, come.
Yep. Shout out to Louie Jr.
Oh, he's over here somewhere. What? What?
What?
All right. So what does peace, love, and death match mean to you, Louie?
Oh man, they are the epitome of what I stand for, and that's giving back. I've stuck around this long, and in my opinion, it is my job and duty at this point in my career to give back. Because as much as we would love to be around forever, we can't. We've all seen our idols. I don't know if you guys follow any other sports, but everybody has the greatest athletes of all times, whether it be Mike Tyson, Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, Derek Jeter, Pete Sampras, anybody. They're all anybody. Tony DeVito, the wrestler, a great dude. If you meet Tony DeVito, the wrestler, that's one hell of a talent, man, and much love to him, man. Carnage Crew for life.
Let's go this route. Eli Manning.
Oh, Eli Manning also. It doesn't matter who you are, what athlete, what profession, what anything. Eventually, there's somebody undefeated out there. He's called Father Time. And we cannot defeat Father Time. So it is our job as established individuals with all these lessons to teach and all these experience to pass on and all these stories to tell, to give it back to the next generation, because it shouldn't die with us. We have to give it back to keep it going. That's how things keep going. Kids are born by passing on your seed, your cum again, to the next generation. You know what I'm saying? So exactly. So you also in that same vein, you got to pass on the knowledge. Stretch and Anthrax are two very hungry, very talented, very hardcore young men that again went about trying to make a name for themselves the wrong way, attacking me, attacking my son. But not only did I earn their respect, not only did they respect me, and that's why they were doing it, I respected them. And that bond of you shared blood with them, they become your brother. With these guys, it's facts. Us four, along with Lady Blakely, who's the fifth pillar of our group, an amazing young lady talent. They're doing big things in H2O. And again, these are the guys that I decided to, pass the knowledge on to, like it was passed on. Like, I'm a big Transformer. I don't know if you guys are big Transformer guys. Like, again, I'm 48 years old. I grew up with Transformers Generation 1. When Optimus is dying and he passes on the Matrix, that's what it is for me. I'm passing it on.
Well said.
Yeah, I cried when he died, though. I ain't gonna lie.
Dude, Can I be like totally honest? You said that I am a grown ass man married with 2 kids, 48 years old. Like I said, I cannot sit through that movie without crying. I actually start crying the minute when Optimus Prime comes on screen when he lands on Earth, and he starts saying Megatron must be stopped no matter the cost. I lose my shit from that moment up until he dies and he turns gray, ash gray, and he's dead. Up until that moment, I cannot not cry. And that's a fact.
No
That's
shame.
bold to say,
Nothing
dog. Because
wrong
I'm
with
not
that.
gonna lie. I remember when I
Nothing
went to the theater. Look, I remember when I went to the theater to see that, and I wasn't the only kid crying in the theater.
Oh,
Like there was a whole mess of us that had to leave the theater
yeah,
after the movie was over
yeah.
because of that one scene.
And this is why they brought him back. You know, they rushed him back in season 3 because of the backlash. But as you guys can see, I don't know if you can see it
Yeah.
here. Look, my
Your
Transformer
Autobot
tattoo. My
tattoo.
Autobot tattoo, because of how much that means. Exactly, right there. How much that means to me. That isn't like, oh, I'm spewing out some lines. That stuff to me was, life altering, and I grew up with it. And it's something that means something to me. Every tattoo on my body means something to me. So for me to tattoo that Transformer logo, that Autobot logo, is because of my love for that movie and that character.
Yep. Yep. Only one Peter Cullen.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, I got a video for you.
Hey, Uncle Louie, it's your wrestling niece, April.
Danny, I just want to say we love you, and we can't wait to watch you destroy hardcore this weekend.
Good luck, and peace, love, deathmatch for life, because you're number 1.
See, those are two of the biggest H2O fans out there. They support our group. Their support means a lot to me because, again, the fans are who we do it for. I go on to say this all the time because people ask me, hey, why do you do this? I do this for the fans. Do you think I'm going to be letting somebody stick a gusset in my head or a Kenzan in my back or light me on fire sitting on my couch at home watching TV? Hell no. But when there's hundreds of people screaming and getting hardcore and we're getting bloody and the fans are into it, I'm willing to do anything to myself just to provide them the entertainment they crave. They're who I do it for. I love them. I love the fans, and that video meant a lot. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, April and Daniel, for sending that in. What a thrill. What are we doing? What are we doing on this next? It's the first time ever.
Yes, and we're doing it with the Hall of Famer. All right, let's get it. Word association, Louie.
I love these.
Start it off, Will the Thrill.
All right. Four Loko.
The greatest beverage ever invented.
All right. I'm not a fan of the next one. I'm not a fan of the
Let me
next
say the
one.
next one. Let me say the next one.
All right, go ahead.
New York Giants.
My favorite football team. If I didn't watch Lawrence Taylor break Joe Theismann's leg on Monday Night Football as an 8-year-old boy, I probably wouldn't watch football. Lots of great memories being a New Yorker. 4 Super Bowl rings. Just an amazing legacy.
And thank you for Barkley.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you can have him in his one leg.
I just had to get that in there.
You can have him in his one leg. Go ahead.
All right, next one.
We're all Eagles fans, and I'm an Eagles fan and a Niners fan, so.
Can I tell you something? When the Eagles played the Patriots, I was an Eagle fan for one night only.
Nice.
We appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Louie.
All right,
Here goes
one.
the next one. Alex Stretch.
Man, maniac, lunatic, brother. I die for that motherfucker.
Oh, that's respect.
Nice.
All right, here we go with the next one. I can't wait for his response to this one. Shonda.
Who? Chondo? Jimmy
Chondo.
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 Yeah,
asshole, but one of the most underrated motherfuckers out there.
Amen.
He can do it all, and he's willing to do it all. Underrated as fuck, but again, a fucktard.
Excellent.
L.A. Willie.
Next one, Sean Henderson.
Oh, beautiful soul, amazing human being, great promoter, and another brother.
Let's talk about this, Louie.
Oh, that I actually
touched
spoke a
on it.
little bit on that
Yes,
yesterday.
you did. Yes, you did.
That's tomorrow night. I mean Friday night. Sorry, the Mecca, Richfield Park. I'm wrestling Rob Shit, one of the young, bright up and comers out of the LA West Coast area, trained by the Santino Bros, Joey Chaos. Big shout out to the late great Supreme and Mark Angel, who is one of my dearest and nearest friends outside of the ring. His family comes over to my house. I love him like family. But when he turns into the alter ego, Mr. Center of Attention, I really want to just jab him in the eye with a pencil.
I knew it.
And that's exactly what I'm going to do this Friday night, because that's exactly who's going to come out. And I've wrestled Mark Angel at this point in my career maybe 30 times in every single stipulation match imaginable, whether it be one-on-one, hardcore, death match, three-way, six-man, elimination, whatever.
Louie comes out on top.
Let's see what happens. I can't wait for this one.
Nice.
Nice.
Willie Tiny.
Yep.
Anthrax.
Same as Stretch. I'll tell an Anthrax story. Well, let me go back. I'm going to tell a Stretch story. Stretch was my return match to H2O after about 5 months away from the company, and we had a hell of a bloodbath and one of my favorite matches ever. Anthrax again, maniac, lunatic, willing to do anything, and another guy that I'm willing to die for. First match I ever did with him, he was a young kid, still learning. Asked his trainer, Matt Tremont, hey, they had the scaffolding up in the building. He asked Matt on separate occasions if he was allowed to hit a move off the scaffolding. And I'm not breaking any fourth wall here. I asked him many times, I said, hey, kid, are you sure you want to do this? He said, yeah. He said, yeah, let's do it. He hits me with the new jack, the 187, which is the dive, holding the chair. He hits me with the dive off this 15-foot scaffold. Hits the elbow, crushes the chair on me. I hear a pop. I hear him yell. I hear him put his arm around me. 1, 2, 3. Match is over. I'm getting up. I see no Anthrax. Anthrax had actually been carried to the back where he shattered his leg in a bunch of places.
Oh.
The kid came back. And, again, he came back. He came back with a chip on his shoulder. Wrestled some great matches. Thought it would be smart to attack my kid to make a name for himself along with Stretch. But from that, started bonds that were forged in the fire and in blood, and those are bonds for life. Again, both Stretch and Anthrax. Dude, I get emotional a lot. I that's one of my flaws. I get emotional a lot because I keep it real.
Okay.
Wear my emotions on my sleeve. But those two dudes, man, I'd kill and die for them. They're my brothers, man. I can't stress it enough. Those are I love them. I love them.
That's completely understandable.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. With the throw.
I said in a previous episode, I don't remember what episode it was, but I have a love-hate relation. I was with Brax. I have a love-hate relationship with Anthrax.
Good guy. Brax is another. You mentioned Brax. I'll mention Brax for a second. A great young talent, tough as nails. He's just massive, strong, rough, tough, and I enjoy. I'd fight him every day and twice on Sunday.
All right, well, let's go to the next one. What a thrill!
The wrestler hardcore.
I didn't know much about hardcore up until the last couple of months when I saw him at X Brand. Hungry, young, talented, daredevil, risk taker. And I'm fighting him this Saturday afternoon, X Brand Wrestling, the Shelter, Howell, New Jersey, 4 p.m. start. And I'm going to go to war with him. And I hope that he could live up to his name because I've been hardcore for 27 years plus.
Then again, my laptop failed me. I had the image of the graphic, and it's not there.
Oh.
I
It's just me?
apologize.
It's all good. It's me. It's hardcore. It's this Saturday. It's 4 p.m. It's Howell, New Jersey. It's X Brand Wrestling.
X Brand
It's going to
Wrestling.
get crazy. It's going to get crazy.
What a thrill, the shirt.
X Brand, love it. Love it. X Brand Wrestling, I want to give a big shout out to them. Another company who recently has given me a platform for my stupidity and insanity, and I appreciate them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Justin Valencia.
Yes.
Justin.
Thank you, Justin. LA,
right.
you up?
LA.
All right, next one. Presidential Cabinet.
Man, you know, a bunch of young, hungry, talented guys that are willing to go out of their way to showcase their talent, their skill, their hunger, their willingness to take a beating. Every single one of those guys, I've wrestled all of them now because we had a 5-on-5 match, but I've wrestled singles matches with almost all of them. Every single one of them very talented, very hungry, very disciplined. And again, that's the future of this area, this East Coast area. We have a lot of legendary talents. Guys like, again, I'll mention Homicide, Steve Mack, Dan Moff, myself, Azrael, Grim Reaper, Jay Lover. We have a lot of talents that are, you know, we're up there in age, and we're not gonna be around forever because again, that Father Time dude has our number, every single one of us. He's gonna pull certain numbers sooner than others, but he has all our numbers. But so we have to eventually leave it to the next generation, and that presidential cabinet, man. You know, Kaleem Duncan Aleem,
Yep.
Brax, Johnny Radix, Brian Neal, Edward
Brian
Hawkins. Talents. I'll say that. I'm
They
not
are
gonna say anything
talented.
nice about them, but they're talented.
But they suck right now. They'll get better.
Oh, they're gonna get some more come.
There you go. What a thrill.
Wait, it's your turn.
Now it's your turn.
No, it's your turn.
It's your turn. What a thrill. Number 20.
20 or 21?
20.
20.
Because you wrote a number twice.
20.
20. 2-0.
All right. The Killdozer. Matt Tremont.
All right. I mentioned them before. Again. Man, fuck. The guy who helped resurrect my career the second time around, him and Louie, like I said, when On Point and H2O split up, I remained with H2O. H2O has been my home. I'm a guy who's 100% honest. We haven't seen eye to eye 100% of the time, but you know what they say. You can always go back home, and I've always gone back home. H2O has been my home for the last 8 years. It is a place that I love, a place that I'm willing to travel. I'm willing to jump off a cliff for. I'm willing to bleed to death for. That company, again, it's like my second home. I cherish it. Anytime that I go through that curtain, I am met with the love of the audience. I am met with the respect of the boys. I have never felt more at home with the exception of my own home that I sit at today with my wife and my children around me, I have never felt more at home than at H2O. With the exception of the doghouse when I started with my original wrestling family, the IWW family, and Homicide and the guys who helped us out. But again, as I've gotten older, everybody goes their own way. This is like the place where I actually was the one. I wasn't the one learning. This time I was the one helping teach, and that even means more. So again, the H2O, Matt Tremont, Killdozer, they all go hand in hand, and I wouldn't still be here if it wasn't for him, if it wasn't for them. I wouldn't have been able to have a lot of the memories that I've made in the last couple of years. Huge moments, huge memories. So again, an eternal debt of gratitude that can never be repaid.
Very well put. Thank you for that. Thank you for H2 Mott and Matt Tremont and H2O. I got the next one.
Yes, you do.
Madman Pondo.
Oh man. Fuck. All right. I'm gonna be as real as humanly possible because you see, there's not a lot of us left. You see me sadly have to use the term God rest their soul many times earlier in this show. Madman Pondo is one of the first original deathmatch wrestlers in the United States, and that is not an opinion, that is a fact. Madman Pondo was doing Juggalo championship wrestling, IWA, truck stop deathmatch in the borderlines of Philadelphia and New Jersey with Ian Rotten in a truck stop in front of hundreds of fans. Madman Pondo was doing shows all over the Midwest, hardcore death matches before IWA was even established. And then when Ian Rotten established IWA Mid-South, Madman Pondo became a staple, a hero, an icon, the winner of the 2003 King of the Death Match, a man who has done 65 something 70 60 tours of Japan, a man who has a published bestseller, a man who has been in a movie with Robert Englund, a man who has been in a video game, a man who has one of the best reputations of any deathmatch wrestler on the planet Earth.
Hold on. Who is Robert Englund?
No, Freddy Krueger.
Come on.
Thank you. All right, go on.
The original Freddy Krueger.
Yes.
Madman Pondo is not only what every deathmatch wrestler aspired to be, I think he is what every wrestler aspired to be. A guy with the longevity, the track record, the tours, the recognition, the book, the movie, the video game, everything encapsulated into one human being. That's Madman Pondo. The amount of respect for who he is and the legacy he leaves behind, for me, I cannot put into words. Fact of the matter is, I waited 20 damn years to stare across the ring from him. And now finally on September 7th at Hustlemania at H2O, I wrestle him one-on-one. Probably the last remaining wrestler of the original American Deathmatch generation against one of the last remaining members of the second generation, because there's not many of my generation left. I think Nick Gage, and he's on his last legs getting ready to hang it up, and a couple other guys, Eddie Carnage in California, Homeless Jimmy, and that's pretty much it for my generation. Necro Butcher, who just came back, that's pretty much it from my generation left. So one of the one from the original generation and one from the generation that followed, that still can do it at a high level and will represent to the fullest. And I hope that we bring the cinder blocks, the scissors, the barbed wire, and everything that was brought in 27 years of deathmatch experience here, and another 32 from Pondo. That's almost 60 years of living, breathing deathmatch wrestling experience that will collide on September 7th.
Thank you. And I heard you wanted his head on a silver platter.
Listen, that's just saying when you're pissed off at his little boy Chando that he keeps barking like a little lap dog, like a little chihuahua, telling everybody how Pondo's his hero when Pondo and Shane Mercer almost murdered him last year. Listen, Chando can go and hang from Pondo's legacy and from his testicles or wherever he wants to hang from. Fact of the matter is, me and Pondo, we know what's up. He knows what I can bring. I know what he can bring. And it's going to be one of those wars like they always say in wrestling, you'll never see Tyson, Ali, you'll never see certain generations battle it out, but you're going to get to see the two original deathmatch generations go to war next Saturday, September 7th.
Thank you. All right. Who wants to take the next one?
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Will the Thrill.
Big
Go ahead.
effing Joe.
Oh, Big Joe, it was made official a couple days ago. Me and Big Joe, October 6th. H2O versus Rise. USA versus England. God damn, if we would have known what was going to happen with taxation now, we should have lost to them back in 1776. But it didn't. Nobody was going to know what was to happen 247 years ago. Whatever the case may be, I go to war with one of the best deathmatch wrestlers from the United Kingdom. Another young, hungry guy making a huge name for himself in our genre. This match was actually supposed to happen 4 years ago. Another match that was truncated by the scourge we know as COVID-19. And sadly, it didn't happen then. But we are 4 years wiser, 4 years better. And me and Big Joe are going to represent who we are against each other. And we may end up in our tighty whities or worse. Who knows?
Let's go.
But
Let's
all
go.
I know is that this is going to be one hell of a banger.
Let's go. There you go.
There it is.
There
Let's
it
go.
You want to know the crazy part? That guy's probably 8 inches taller than I am. I'm going to look like a midget.
Oh.
Dude, it's going to be a match going down in history.
Oh, it's going to be violent. Violent.
5
Violent,
years in the
bloody.
making.
Yep. Almost
Dude.
5 years in the making. Yes, sir.
This is your show. It's to put you over. But let's put Joe over for a minute. Because he's coming over to America.
Yeah.
This is going to be a colossal USA versus UK
Okay.
in a death match.
The Rise promotion is going to bring their heavy hitters. They're bringing Iceman. They're bringing Lou Nixon. They're bringing Big Joe. And they're all going to be at the H2O Wrestling Center. It's going to be USA versus the UK death match way.
Absolutely.
That's the way to go.
Indeed, indeed.
See, look,
Very
fall off
easy,
on my
nice
hand.
for local indeed.
My old friend Buffy always says it's not a gimmick, it's a lifestyle. The Four Loco is my lifestyle.
There we go.
Ain't go wrong with that.
No, you cannot.
Right. Any more questions?
Yeah, I have a few here from Joe Hill. So the first one for you, Louie, is your thoughts on True Blood.
Oh man, Drew Blood. I'm sad that I don't see Drew Blood around as much as I did. He was a staple of the original CZW, an original member of the Nation of Intoxication. Him and Devin Moore, one Notorious Inc., one hell of a tag team. Both those guys I had ridiculous chemistry with. I can wrestle them with my eyes closed. I had one of the best matches of my life against Drew Blood at the H2O Danny Havoc Deathmatch Extravaganza 1. I've wrestled Drew Blood many times. I've known him over 20 years. And I don't know where he is now. It's sad that he's fallen off the planet when it comes to wrestling. But I love him to death, and I wish him the best every day of my life.
Okay. Next one. Here, your thoughts on Rocket.
Rocket, Sean Smith, H2O product. He was a champion in Titan Championship Wrestling, which was a company that I was wrestling for a little bit. Their style is not what my style is, but I enjoyed my time at Titan Championship Wrestling. Very good, nicely tight run ship, very fan friendly, very fun to work for. And Sean has the body, the looks, the ability, the high flying, the agility, the talent, and the gumption to go very far. He's very nice, always respectful when I cross paths with him in the locker room. Him and his longtime tag team partner and friend Dom Cecilio, who is right now the H2O hybrid champion. Two of the nicest guys that I met as up and comers at H2O. I wish Sean Smith nothing but the best.
Okay. The next one is your thoughts on, if I'm reading this correctly, HRE.
HRE.
Don't know.
I have no idea what.
Or
Yeah,
let's meant to say on Hellware.
Helloware.
Oh, Helloware
Hellware.
Assassin.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I wrestled Helloware, my ex-brand wrestling debut. Helloware was having a little bit of an episode during the match. He had been very sick. He had the flu. He doesn't know what he had, but all he knows that he had some kind of flu. He wasn't able to hold down any solid food for days before the event. Still managed in typical wrestler fashion, managed to tough it out. Came down, did the show, didn't back out, didn't not show. About a third of the way through the match, when the match started getting hot and heavy in a nice warm building, I think that the fact that he had no food in the system for a few days, that he was under the weather, the meaning of the match, I think it all caught up to him, and he started having a little bit of an issue. The professional that I am, I made sure that he was okay, and I made sure that he made it through safely. He would go on to repeat every single word that I'm saying now the next day on his live feed. So it's not like I'm making any of this up. He repeated it himself. He thanked me profusely. And I thank Hellaware for the match. He's an old OG like I am. Did a lot of the original CCW stuff. Much respect to him. It's a shame that the match didn't go off like it should have. But again, we're out there without a safety net. We're out there without any type of choreography, preparation, people calling cut, prep, this, that. We're not active. We're none of that. We're doing it as we're doing it. And sometimes shit happens. I'm glad he's okay. And I'm glad he's from what I heard, he's coming back to the ring. And again, I got nothing but love for him. I've known him for 20-something years, and Jay's a good guy, man. I give him all the love in the world.
Okay.
We will be seeing him soon in XPW. Real soon.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. I got the call to do XPW. I was booked to do XPW in, I think it was February. Yeah, this February. What ended up happening was they ended up changing the date on me. And because I have other responsibilities, like I said, before, it's no secret. I'm like the biggest family man in the world. Everybody knows I bring my family with me everywhere I go. I extol the virtues of being married. I have my wife with me. My son is with me. My son wrestles with me. My daughter's always at shows with me. So I'm a very, like I said, very big family guy. And I have another job outside of wrestling to help support my family, to take care of my family. When XPW changed their date, it conflicted with some work that I had to get done. And as somebody that has a title working for the largest commercial landowner in the state of New York, I just can't, bow down and say, hey, man, I'm going to take a day off. For me to take time off from my job, I have to schedule that way ahead of time, speak to my bosses, work 6 days ahead of being off to make sure that everything is done. And then even when I'm off, and actually, funny enough, I'm off this week from work, I'm still in touch with my bosses through my work phone and with my team at work on a regular basis to make sure that everything is running smoothly. So I just can't take off from 1 minute to the next. Sadly, XPW ended up changing their show from a Saturday night, which I was very comfortable with doing, to a Sunday afternoon where I was scheduled to work all day. I couldn't make that. I guess they didn't appreciate the fact that I called out or had to bail out because of the time change. There was some conversations afterwards, but nothing came to fruition. Sadly, it never came to pass. But again, XPW is another brand that does deathmatch wrestling. And if anybody that does deathmatch wrestling, I love you and I support you.
I understand that. You must be talking about the WrestleMania weekend.
Was it WrestleMania weekend? No, I think it was right before that. Could have been, but I think it was before that.
I'm not sure, but yeah.
February. It was February.
But we'll see you this Saturday.
Definitely.
XPW MMA.
X-Brand.
X-Brand Wrestling. What's Montana's?
X-Brand Wrestling. The Shelter.
MMA, right?
We're not like us.
Yeah.
It's the house party too. We're not like us. They're not like us.
Yeah.
They're not like that.
You will be there. You will be there this Saturday.
I will be there this Saturday. Me and Hardcore, we're gonna go to war. I'm gonna bring some of my specialized bats and some other toys to play with. And I think that he's a guy that's willing to go all out, so I'm ready to rumble.
Word.
You know it.
All right. So the next one for you is, what are your thoughts on Joe Gacy?
Wow. I know Joe. I don't know Joe very well. I will say this. When I was injured against Masada, On Point, H2O, they all came together to do a benefit show on my behalf for myself and my family. Joe Gacy was one of the first guys to throw his name in the hat. I will be eternally grateful for that. Joe Gacy is a guy who started out doing death matches and is now in one of the prime positions, gimmick-wise, in the WWE after doing it at NXT. A good talent, a good hand, and a great worker. And again, I wish that dude nothing but the best, because when I was down, he wasn't like one of the guys that I could say, oh, that's a guy that I'm down with this and that. He was a guy who was there to help. And we bonded that day, and I appreciate him to this day. And just a great dude. Him and his wife, Amy, beautiful people, amazing human beings, and a big shout out to him. He deserves all the success that he has.
Nice. All right. So
What a thrill. What a thrill. I'm sorry.
I can finally ask a question.
Yes.
Go ahead. There's a couple more, but go ahead.
Lowlife Louie, I gotta thank you, fam. Because Willie Tiny, I already gave my flowers to Willie Tiny tons of times, but he brought me to the H2O once I got back into the love of wrestling. And going in there, seeing your banner up there as the Hall of Famer, I was like, oh, I can't wait to see what he's like. As soon as your music hit, I was in love. And he will tell you, I was in love with you, man.
Thank you.
From one stranger to the next. To see the stuff that you did inside the ring, it was like the first thing I said is like, I gotta learn from this guy. Just because of the skills and everything. So I did a little research, just a little. I don't like studying that much. But I wanted to give you my flowers. The question I had for you, do you actually train or do you pass any type of knowledge for anyone who's interested, especially in your craft?
Sadly, because of my job outside of wrestling and my commitments outside of wrestling, I don't have time to train anybody, but I am willing to.
So you're not going to train Joe Blazer?
I'm willing to sit down with anybody at any point, at any time, and impart any type of knowledge, any type of tips, any type of training, verbal or otherwise. If you want to send me a video, I'll tell you anything that I can critique in the positive or negative. I can actually sit with you at a show. If you catch me at a show and you could show me whatever or speak to me, and I will definitely just spend time with you, because, again, like I had mentioned before, this is why I'm still here, because I want to give back. And if you are hungry and willing to learn and want to be able to do this, I am willing to sit there and give every bit of myself to people like that, because that was once me. I was once the kid with the bright eyes that wanted to learn everything. Now I'm the old guy with the if I was in a old kung fu movie, I'd have the long white Fu Manchu down to my knee, like Master Splinter kind of, and teaching
Yeah.
everybody. That would be me at this point. But anytime, anywhere, anybody comes up to me and says, "Hey, man, can I get a tip? Can I get a piece of advice? Can I get this? Can I get that?" Yo, man, that's what I'm here for. I'm gonna share a piece of advice that I was given about 25 years ago by Superfly Jimmy Snuka.
Nice.
Super
I,
fly.
I refereed for Superfly Jimmy Snuka back in September of 1999.
Mm.
And I pulled up after the match, after Jimmy thanked me for refereeing his match. I said, "Mr. Snuka, sir, can I have a moment of your time, please?" He's like, "Brother," and I'm going to try to mimic the accent and what he said to me, how he said it. He's like, "Brother, what do you need, brother? Love me, brother." And I said, "Yes, sir, Mr. Snuka. It was an honor to referee for you, an honor to work with you." "Love me, brother, love me." I go, "Mr. Snuka, if there's any advice that you want to give to a young wrestler, what would it be?" He's like, "Brother, every time you go out to an indie show, a big time show, any show, there is at least one person in that crowd, brother, that's never seen you live. It is your job to win them over. Why? Because they become a lifetime paying fan, brother. Love me." Quote unquote. And I always took that to heart, because it was basically him saying, work hard every time, and work hard every time, and make sure that everybody sees you work hard. And I translated that to my daily life. And in my life, I went from a guy making $7 an hour working night security to being a foreman for, again, the largest commercial landowner in the state of New York.
Wow.
So
Nice.
hard work and being good to people, working hard and showing how hard you work, and having the right people see your work is gold.
That's
And
right, brother.
that's what I learned from that piece of advice. And thank you, Jimmy Snuka. God rest. I translated that advice to wrestling and to my daily life, and I've never. Again, if you guys have seen me wrestle to invite me on this podcast, I don't take the foot off the pedal. I'm bleeding 24/7 in a match, coast to coast. I'm doing whatever I got to do to entertain, to give back, to make the opponent look golden, to make myself look golden. It doesn't matter, and I do that in my daily life at work. I work my ass off. I'm the head of a team. My team works for me because I work for them, and that's the way it rolls, man. Again, that piece of advice is, to me, is like one of the golden rules of my life.
Thank you, Louie. You
Yeah.
are
Thank
no
you,
part
man.
of Lowlife.
Oh no, I am a low life. I was a low life.
Oh.
I wasn't always a nice guy.
Well, Thrill,
Okay.
you got a question. The question we ask all the time. That's your
Oh
question.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Because I had another question too.
I mean, I got a couple more,
All
but
right. All right, let's go. Let's go.
I'm here.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
here.
okay, okay. The one question that I had is the whole Cartman thing. What's up with that? To get this out of the way, it's been bugging me.
Your
I wanted to
t-shirt.
know.
Your
Okay,
t-shirt.
I was a huge South Park fan from the inception of the show. The show actually came out around the same time I started wrestling. So I was a huge fan. All the boys used to go back. We used to watch the South Park episodes when Comedy Central replay them. We'd be
Mhm.
smoking, we'd be drinking, having a good time, watching the original South Park. We loved it. And Manslaughter, who I mentioned before, he was one of the UWO guys who helped the IWW guys learn. He was a master at artwork. He was a master airbrusher. When I was going to make my debut at the Elks, I approached him. I said, his shoot name is Ralph. And I said, "Ralph," I said, I need your help, brother. I said, "I want to come up with a shirt that's going to pop, that means something to me. And he's like, you like that South Park shit, right? I said, yeah, man. He's like, bro, you're fat like Cartman. He kept it real, and I was like 300 pounds back then. I said, yeah, I look like Cartman. He's like, let me doctor up the Cartman logo, the Cartman character, and make him look like you. And Ralph, aka Manslaughter, Ralph the Jesus, aka Manslaughter, came up with that character, and he airbrushed it on a shirt for me that I would go on to wrestle at the Elks Lodge, the original Madhouse of Extreme. And it's that shit stuck, and that's been my logo for 21 years, and I've had it. It's actually tattooed on one of my wife's arms.
Nice.
It's yeah, wait, I can't see it. I can't. No, I can't. You gotta give me your arm. Yeah, I got it the wrong way. It's so.
Yeah, she does got it.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know that it's tattooed on her. The logo it's on my old original shirts. It's just a logo that, again, it came from a guy that helped me get my start. It came from something that I loved and enjoyed. I actually have another South Park character that I'm fond of, Butters, tattooed on one of my arms. So it's just something that means something to me. I tattoo it on me. It stays with me. And that's where the logo came from. And it's been with me for, like I said, over 21 years. I've used different shirts during matches. Obviously, just like it depends on the importance of the match or the importance of the shirt. I've worn my heavy hitter shirt. When I wrestled Nate Hatred, first match, first round, NGI, I was so disarmed because I didn't know I was going to wrestle. I had my heavy hitter shirt on that day. I wore it with pride. And again, big shout out to my brother Steve Mack. I wore my Four Loco shirt when I wrestled Jesse Daniels at X Brand a little bit ago. Again,
Yes.
big shout out. Four Loco is my safe space, my happy place sometimes. So I got a shout out to that. So certain shirts for certain occasions, but that's like the main one. That's the one that means the most. It was given to me by a friend. It was made by a friend, and I'll hold on to that logo forever.
Then
Nice.
you mentioned Jesse Daniels. Like, as an up and comer, how do you think he's doing?
I think he's doing very well. I know that he just faced off against the godmother at What We Do, Mickey Knuckles, one of my favorite opponents as well. Mickey's amazing. I think Mickey could beat up 75% of the men in the wrestling business. Men.
Yes,
I
agree. I agree.
Mickey is tough as nails, and I'd fight her any day again, twice on Sunday.
Let's
And
go.
Jesse survived Mickey and had a great showing against her. And he did the same thing against me. Went to war with me, brawled with me, and was in the pocket. And that's all I expect from these young guys, to be in there and to show me what they got. I'm not here to put anybody down. I'm not here. I'm here to help. I'm here to provide, like I said, knowledge and whatever. But I'm also not going to baby you. If you don't come correct and you don't come right, I'm not going to, you have to show me that you got what you got. And that's exactly what Jesse Daniels did when we wrestled. And I got nothing but love for him.
Yes, I agree with that. But at that last XPW show, House Party 1, I was so surprised that Jesse Daniels pulled the win off of you.
He got the Duke, man. And I was very happy to see that. I mean, it's never okay to lose. But again, in what we do, there really isn't winners and losers. There's good and bad matches. And if you go back and you go talk to Jesse, he will tell you that he had a wonderful time during that match, and so did I.
Yes, I agree with that. But it just, we did a pre-show on the match, and every single one of us, with Joe Wood from Philly Edge of Sports, the Steel Steps, Joe Wood, we all agreed you were going to beat Jesse Daniels.
Listen, it happens. You want to understand something. When I was speaking to Jesse after the show, Jesse has been alive as long as I've been wrestling.
Exactly. You have more knowledge.
That
Yeah.
guy, he's also 27, and I'm also very old.
Hey, wisdom still overcomes that, man.
Most of the
What a,
time. Sometimes, not all the time.
what a thrill.
All right.
You got a
All right.
question.
Yes. Yes. Here it is. Here it is. Your dream opponent, dream match, alive or dead, anywhere. You got the floor.
In wait, this Saturday, in about 12 days' time, it is my dream match. Madman Pondo, Lowlife Louie, bring the bat with the saw blade, bring the cinder blocks, bring the scissors, bring the barbed wire bat, bring the IWA feeling, bring it all. That is probably one of the greatest dream matches for me. And again, for 20 years, I cried for that match. I'd cry in my sleep. I'd cry in the fetal position and wondered one day, am I ever going to wrestle Madman Pondo? As I read his book on the train every day going home from work for a whole week, I wondered if I ever was going to wrestle Madman Pondo. Every day of my life, I wondered if I ever was going to wrestle Madman Pondo. When I played Backyard Wrestling 2, There Goes the Neighborhood, I wondered if I was going to wrestle Madman Pondo. And on September 7th, one-on-one, I will wrestle Madman Pondo. Dreams come true. I've wrestled Raven. I've wrestled New Jack. I've wrestled Balls Mahoney, Ian Rotten, Axel Rotten, Spike Dudley, uh, uh, Tommy Dreamer, New Jack. I wrestled Homicide, Low-Key. Man, some of the greatest independent and ECW wrestlers, I've mentioned both, all independent and deathmatch wrestling icons. Matt Tremont, Nick Gage, Masada, man, Jeff Cannonball. My God,
Butcher.
Abdullah the Butcher, Terry Funk, Norman Smiley even. I pinned him once. Spike Dudley. I've wrestled so many great wrestlers that have helped forge paths, that have helped me personally and professionally. Wrestling Pondo is the dream. He is, like I said before, I went into detail on it. He is the dream. But otherwise, besides Pondo, man, I don't think I have a dream match left. I wrestled my brother, God rest his soul, who dabbled in wrestling as we were starting. I've wrestled my trainer Homicide many times. I wrestled all the boys that I started with. I've wrestled my son. I've wrestled my boys, my peace, love, and death match. I've wrestled with them and against them. I think that the only dream match, like to me, not a dream match, but a dream fulfilled would be to go to Japan because, again, the scourge known as COVID cost me this, and I have pictures and emails and all this stuff to prove it. On May 18th, 2020, I was supposed to debut in Japan for Emergency Pro Wrestling. Big shout out to Tony Myers, even though I haven't spoken to Tony Myers in a very long time. I hope that if he does watch this or somebody makes him listen to this, I hope he does listen to this. Big shout out to Tony Myers. He was instrumental in getting the ball rolling to get me finally to Japan. And I was there, man. The posters of me and FMW Leather, aka Tony Myers, and a bunch of other guys were in Japan. We were supposed to go out there. I have the emails where I was supposed to work with Onita in Japan. Well, before Onita's fight in Japan in 2020. And then COVID hit. And then sadly, the rug was pulled from under me. And I wasn't able to go. And at this point in my life and career, I'm at a crossroads where even if I did get that nod, even if I did get that opportunity, I don't know if I'm able to go. But knowing that I had that in the bag means the world to me. And that was the dream. The one dream unfulfilled was going to Japan.
I understand that. I will make shorts of this. And we'll get the word out.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I appreciate that so much. But again, at this point in my life, at this juncture, I am very well fulfilled with wrestling locally, doing shows, giving back to the generation here. It would be the ultimate honor, and again, the feather in the cap to go. But again, I can comfortably hang it up, and I do have an exit plan. I want to do this 2 more years. If I make it to 50 in the calendar of life, I will make it to 30 as a professional wrestler. And once those two meet, if I'm blessed with that opportunity, I can hang it up without any qualm, and with my head held high, saying I did it.
Nice.
All right. All right. Well, with this time, I'm going to take it home. But before I take it home, I want to
LA wants to say something real quick.
Oh, go ahead, LA.
Louis, talking about giving back to the wrestling and all that, I got one more question for you.
Yes.
Your thoughts on your son wrestling and following in your footsteps?
Oof.
That comment comes from Joe Hale.
Come Joe
Oh
Phil.
man, he's my son's sitting right here, and he's not gonna let me bullshit.
Throw it up. Throw it up on the screen.
I get on my son all the time. My son is, during the COVID era, kids were banned from going to school. He let the weight get on him. He let the weight gain stay. And sometimes he could be a little lazy. Sometimes he could be a little, forgetting the workouts, forgetting this, forgetting that. And you know what? When you're 19 and he does have two jobs. But when you're 19, your mind isn't what it is when you're almost 49 like I am. So I can forgive him for certain things, but I want him to step up. He's been given a lot. He's been given and blessed a lot of opportunities. It is now his time to step up because guess what? Daddy ain't going to be around for 10, 15 years. Daddy may be around for another 1 or 2 years of his career. And if he so decides to keep it pushing and moving forward, I may not be around. He has to do it on his own. He has to stand on his own 2 feet, make his own name. So I try to teach him this now as he is still only 19 years old. Get in shape. Get in the best shape that you can. Learn from everybody that you can because everybody that's been there before you has a little morsel of knowledge that they could pass on to you. And every single little morsel that you add to a jar, you could fill many jars with those. And I have filled in my lifetime, I believe that I have filled many a jar with knowledge from hundreds and hundreds, even if thousands of people that I have come across in my wrestling career. And I tell them the same thing. So now it is my job as a parent to try to guide them, to try to push them in the right direction, to try to keep them on the right path of exercise, of weight loss, of learning, of continuing to grow, learn, and perform better and be better with every outing because that's the only way you're going to learn, to get better with every outing, to fight people that are going to make you better, to wrestle people that are in a higher learning and experience bracket than you are. You cannot learn if you're going to dip down. You have to keep going up. And that's what he's been doing. And he has a few matches coming up, and I'm very proud of that. But again, you got to keep grinding. You can't sleep on your laurels. You can't sleep on your name. You can't sleep on the fact that you're come. You got to keep doing
it. Louie Jr., there's people that believe in you. In local promotions, I got to say, Justin Valencia at X Brand Wrestling believes in you. You can do this.
Indeed.
He has a huge match. He has a huge match this Saturday against
Saturday.
Old school OG, tri-state area, CZW trained, barbed wire bat match. And, I expect my kid to swing, man.
Everybody come out to Howell, New Jersey, Saturday.
That's definitely going to be a party. I'm going to have 4 locos, beer. Let's all fucking get a picture together and some alcohol together, man.
Let's go. We'll be there.
Let's go.
I can't wait.
Right, Louie,
this is what I live for. You got to understand that. You see, this kind of camaraderie, this kind of love, this kind of affection, this kind of like giving, this is what I live for. This is what keeps me going, man.
All right, Louie, you don't have to go nowhere yet. We're going to take this home.
Let's do it.
We're gonna play our music, and while I get our music ready, I'm gonna say I recently just lost my uncle this week, Sunday.
My condolences. My condolences.
At 56 years old,
oof.
I am completely heartbroken. He lost his life to a massive heart attack. He got me into wrestling. He took me to my first WWF show at the Spectrum when I was like 3 years old.
Wow.
I'm grieving this week. I got through this. I needed this. Thank you, Louie. I
Thank you,
needed.
and my prayers and condolences to you because losing a loved one that means so much to one of us, like when we hold somebody near and dear, losing them is very traumatic. And there's certain people in our life that when we lose them, we'll never get over that. So much respect to your uncle and his memory, and just keep him alive in your heart.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He was one of my best friends. But anyway, we're gonna take this home.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Hit the button.
All right, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Three Wheels of
Ladies
Wrestling.
and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
This is the Three Wheels of Wrestling podcast.
Well, the thrill.